Elephant Alien and Titan, The Great Journey of Two Different Trunks. In the vast African savanna, where the sun painted the golden grass red, lived a large herd of elephants called the silverbacks. In this herd, there were two young elephants born on the same day, but they were as different as night and day. One was named Titan. Titan was incredibly huge, strong, and a bit loud for his age. When he walked, the ground shook, and he could break the thickest branches in a single move with his trunk. Titan relied on his strength and usually acted without thinking. "Get out of my way," was his favorite phrase. The other was named Alien. Alien was much smaller and slighter than the other elephants. His ears were a bit smaller, and his trunk looked delicate. But Alien's eyes were attentive enough to count the stars in the sky, and his mind was sharp enough to solve problems as complex as a spider's web. Alien was quiet, he loved to observe. Titan and Alien didn't get along very well. Titan would call Alien little ant and make fun of him. "Hey Alien, if the wind blows, hide in my pocket, or you'll fly away," he would laugh. Alien would feel sad about Titan's rudeness but wouldn't make a sound. Inside, he would think, "I wish I were as strong as him." That summer, the rains did not come. Rivers dried up, and green grass turned yellow and then to dust. The leader of the herd, the old and wise female elephant matriarch Zara, gathered everyone together. "Listen," said Zara, her voice tired but determined. "There is no water left here. We must migrate to the Valley of Whispering Waterfalls that our ancestors spoke of. The road is long and dangerous. We will have to pass through the Grey Canyon and the thorny forest." There was unrest in the herd. The Grey Canyon was a narrow pass where winds knocked elephants off balance. The thorny forest was a maze where finding direction was impossible. Zara continued, "No one will be left alone on this journey. Young ones, you will pair up. The strong will balance the weak, the smart will balance the fast." Zara swept her eyes over the crowd and made her decision. "Titan, your partner will be Alien." Titan's trunk shot up in surprise. "What? Him? But he will slow me down. I can run at the front." Alien flattened his ears in embarrassment. Pairing with Titan meant enduring his mockery the entire way. But leader Zara's word was law. The journey began. The first day passed with a difficult walk under the sun. Titan was constantly going ahead, while Alien followed behind, swallowing dust. On the second day, they reached the dreaded Grey Canyon. This was a very narrow path between two massive rock walls. The wind blew so strongly here that the whistling sound deafened the elephants' ears. Titan shouted, "I am not afraid of this wind," and rushed forward. But when he reached the middle of the canyon, the wind hit him so hard that giant Titan's feet almost lifted off the ground. He lost his balance and crashed into the rock. His massive body acted like a sail, creating resistance against the wind. "I can't move forward," yelled Titan, his voice getting lost in the wind. From behind, Alien's voice was heard, "Titan, bend your knees. Get low to the ground." Titan was about to say, "What do you know?" but the wind was about to blow him away. Desperately, he did what Alien said. He bent his knees and lowered his belly to the ground. The effect of the wind decreased. Alien, being less affected by the wind thanks to his small body, came next to Titan. "Listen to me," said Alien. "We will follow the indentations of the wall. We must pass through the places where the wind draws an S. I can hear from the sound of the wind which gap is safe." Titan was surprised. He only heard noise, but Alien was reading the wind. Titan put his pride aside. "Okay," he said. "You show the way." Alien took the lead. He moved forward, drawing zigzags according to the flow of the wind. Titan managed to pass his massive body through the canyon without hitting the rocks by following the steps of that little elephant. When they exited the canyon, Titan was out of breath, but the way he looked at Elian had changed. Days later, they arrived at the thorny forest. This was a place filled with dense trees blocking the sky and paths that all looked identical. The herd had to stop after a while. Even leader Zara was hesitating. Everywhere looked the same. Titan got impatient. "I'll clear the path," he said, and dove into the thick bushes in front of him. He moved forward by breaking branches with his trunk. But 10 minutes later, he had returned to where they started. He was just tired and had gotten scratches from the thorns. "Strength doesn't work here, Titan," said Elian in a calm voice. Titan got angry. "So what will you do, Tiny? Are you going to sit and cry?" Elian didn't answer. He closed his eyes. He lifted his trunk into the air and sniffed deeply. Then he examined the soil structure on the ground. "My grandfather told me," said Elian. "In the thorny forest, the direction of water is the direction where moss grows on the north side of the trees. Also, the smell of damp earth is coming from that way." Elian pointed to a narrow path covered with bushes that no one had noticed. The herd went silent. Matriarch Zara looked at Elian and smiled. "Elian is right. The scent is coming from that direction." The herd dove into the forest under Elian's guidance. This time, Titan wasn't at the very front, but walking right behind Elian. Elian was finding the path, and Titan was helping him by lifting logs too big for Elian to pass. One was finding the way, the other was clearing the way. After exiting the forest, only one final obstacle remained before them, the mud field in the dried riverbed. The surface looked dry, but underneath was sticky mud. As the herd passed carefully, Titan acted hastily again. "I smell water," he said, and started running. And suddenly, slop! Titan's front legs, then his back legs, sank into the slime. The more he tried to get out, the more he sank. "Help!" shouted Titan. His panic caused him to be pulled down even deeper. The mud had reached his belly. The big elephants in the herd rushed to help, but they couldn't get close because they too were in danger of sinking. They extended their trunks, but Titan was too heavy and too far away. For the first time, real fear appeared in Titan's eyes. "I'm sinking. Elian! Everyone go, I will stay here." Elian stood on the bank, looking around quickly. His strength wasn't enough to pull Titan. But his intelligence might be. "No one is going anywhere," shouted Elian. Elian saw a fallen, long, and sturdy tree trunk at the edge of the forest. "Help me," he said to the other young elephants. Together, they rolled that log to the edge of the swamp. Elian said, "We won't use this as a bridge. We will make this a lever." Elian explained his plan. They placed one end of the log on a sturdy rock next to Titan. The other end was pushed under Titan's body, into the mud. "Now," shouted Elian. "The heaviest elephants of the herd. Press down on the other end of the log." 3 large elephants pressed down on the end of the log, remaining in the air with all their weight. The laws of physics kicked in. As the other end of the log lifted up, it broke the vacuum effect of the mud and pushed Titan upwards. Feeling he was coming free, Titan extended his trunk with a final effort. Elian caught Titan with his own trunk. Elian's strength wasn't enough alone, but he was just supporting Titan. With the help of the lever, Titan popped out of the mud with a pop and rolled onto the hard ground. He was covered in mud, he was tired, but he was saved. The next morning, the herd crested a hill and saw the view below. The valley of whispering waterfalls. A paradise filled with lush green trees, gushing waters, and fresh fruits. All the elephants ran to the water, trumpeting with joy. Titan stopped by the water's edge. Before washing up, he went over to Elian. Elian was drinking water. Titan stood next to Elian with his massive body. "Elian," said Titan, his voice lower than ever before. Elian lifted his head. "Yes, Titan." I apologize for making fun of you," said Titan. "You may be small, but your heart and mind are much bigger than mine. If you hadn't read The Wind in the Grey Canyon, I would have flown away. If you hadn't found the path in the forest, we would have gotten lost. And if it weren't for that log idea, I would still be in that mud." Elian smiled. "But without you, Titan, we couldn't have lifted those logs in the thorny forest. Your strength cleared the path. My mind found the path. We are a good team." Titan extended his trunk. Elian wrapped his own trunk around it. This was the elephant's greatest greeting of friendship. "You're right," said Titan. "From now on, no one can call you little ant. Your name shall be Great Mind. Elian laughed. "And your name shall be Big Heart. From that day on, Elian and Titan were never apart. One used his strength, the other used his intelligence. Everyone in the herd learned from them that the best friendship is not about being alike, but about completing each other's missing parts. And the Silverback's herd lived many long and happy years under the leadership of these two friends.